So.
No, and I remember we sent a few of our musicians down to you for your open mic later.
Yeah.
After they were done playing for us out in the street.
Do the same this year if you want.
So we sure will.
Yeah.
We sure will. The kids were very excited about that.
Well, I mean, I know that we have one kid that's over there that runs the sandwich shop in Hudson, Cahill Sandwich Shop, which Bill is probably like up there in his 90s. But due to you coming on, he was inspired to pick up an instrument and join the Nashua Community Music School because his goal in life is to become the musician of the month. So he's playing violin, right?
Yeah, he is. He's doing very well.
I'm glad you guys are over there by the river where nobody can hear. I'm honest to goodness. I love that. Especially
Actually, we have great acoustics over there.
I didn't say you didn't, but this is where we need to put new violinists and drummers, by the way.
Oh,
you guys need to be in the basement for at least 5 months of the beginning time.
Here we go.
And this is what you guys were the inspiration for the electronic drum kit. Christmas is coming, and I'll never forget it when I was 9, 10 years old, which I fell in love with the drums as well. And my father was like, this ain't going to happen. Play a drum pad for 5 months. If you're still playing it, we'll talk about drums. That lasted about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's how it goes a lot of the times.
So Bill plays and likes his instrument.
Yeah, he does. You know, I'm excited, especially with Taylor here today. You know, about 25% of our student body are adults. And I think that a lot of times people look at the Nashua Community Music School as a place for just children to explore music for the first time. But really, our community is so much larger than that. So
Phil, who put the calendar together, did you happen to see the
Oh, I saw the calendar. It looks great.
That's right, Lindsay. You're still on my radio show. Be nice.
Yeah, it looks great.
Lie to me, baby. Lie to me.
I particularly love Bob in the background in the back canoe.
I can't wait to see the rest of the 12 months.
Pretty great.
He's a banjo player that I've been trying to encourage to go over there because he's been playing the same song for 4 years and he can't seem to get off it.
Yeah, well, we have other songs.
No, he stinks.
Oh.
And he needs help.
Well,
honest to goodness, some people just can't play. I know you people are nice and think everybody can. I'm on the other side of my school. Throw them out first 2 weeks because I'm not dealing with the bull crap of you not being able to play. Try painting.
Yeah, you gotta have smaller goals, smaller achievable goals. Yeah.
He did. He was going to 6 strings. Now he's down to 5. Pretty soon he'll be on the ukulele band that's coming up.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a good ukulele band.
No, I know.
I know you. I know it's not your favorite.
Let me tell you something. Okay, well, hey, you know what? I'm not telling you it doesn't take talent to play the things, and I'm not telling you that the craftsmanship and some of those, not when I was growing up, but today's day and age is big business. I know that.
It true is.
Exotic woods and the such like that. But my mind can't wrap it around.
Well, now you can't get the rosewood anymore.
I was born, well, you can't get Brazilian rosewood.
That's
or
right.
Madagascar.
Yeah.
Madagascar. We can still get rosewood. This was a joke when we were growing up. That's why.
Yeah.
So if I was born in a different time,
you
know, and there were ukuleles under the tree, and it was a big deal, I wouldn't think like the way I was. But the ukuleles were never under the tree; they were over by the garbage barrel.
Oh, I see.
They're like, well, you know, or somebody playing this. Tip that guy with the big guy there, Tippy Toe, whatever his name was there, Tiny. Who wanted to be like him? Nobody. Did Tiny Tim inspire people to play the ukulele? No.
You should hear. But there is a new guy that's out there who's basically considered the Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, no.
Seriously.
No.
His name is Jake Shimabukura. And he is probably one of the most amazing ukulele players you will ever hear in your life.
I'm not going to be tuning my ears into him. Anyway, let's get to some stuff that's coming up at the Nashua Community Music School.
So for those of you that are big fans of ukulele, we have an awesome show. It's the Ukestra Holiday Show. It's actually directed by our NCMS guitar instructor, Mike Lochi. And the Ukestra Holiday Show is a really great afternoon of music that features a whole orchestra of ukulele. So, you know, maybe George's personal hell, I don't know. But I think it's everybody. It's a really fun concert. Everybody has a great time. They're playing holiday favorites, rock favorites, and you get to see all different kinds of ukuleles playing in like a choir orchestra type setting. It's really, really cool. So that's Sunday, December 8th at 2. It's at the Nashua Community Music School. There's a sliding scale ticket, so it's a pay what you can ticket price to make the concert available to everyone who has interest in going. It's a great way to get into the holiday spirit, especially if you're one of those folks that you're, spending the morning cruising all the different craft fairs and stuff going on in town. It's a great way to, you grab some lunch and you go get catch an afternoon show. It's a really nice way to spend your weekend in preparation for the holidays.
December 8th, 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Before that, though, we've got something coming up on November 30th. That is the holiday stroll we talked a little bit about.
Yeah. So the Holiday Stroll obviously is a huge event put on by Great American Downtown and a variety of local business sponsors. So it's an incredible event. They usually get about 30,000 people down here on Main Street. All Main Street's completely closed off. And the Nashua Community Music School's part of it is we play at the corner of Pearson and Main Street. So that's right across the street from Daryl's Music Hall.
Okay.
And we offer from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. We are doing a rotation of our voice students singing holiday tunes and our trash talk percussion ensemble, which both of our folks here in the studio with me are in today. So they'll tell you a little bit more about trash talk. But it's a great way to, get you grooving to the rhythm of the stroll. Is coming and checking us out. And then when you are too cold and you need a break, you come back into the studio and do the open mic.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think we're in for a beautiful night as far as weather is concerned.
Really? How can you tell so far away?
As far as storms go, they're hit or miss. But as far as weather temperatures, they're usually 10 degrees. If they're going to be wrong, 10 off, and they're looking for 40s during the day and high 20s at night. Typical.
Last year we got so lucky. I think these guys were playing in like t-shirts last year.
I don't think we're going to be that warm, but we're not going to be in the 5-degree days that I've sat out in that crap.
Oh yeah. So we play outside because we are a loud, rowdy group, and we like to be in the center and in the thick of it, in the middle of everything. So please do check us out. We're playing between 5:30 and 8 at the corner of Pearson Ave and Main Street on Saturday, November 30th at the Holiday Stroll.
Monday, December 2nd.
Yeah, so and just after that, Monday, December 2nd is our big opening for our winter registration for our new students. So if you or someone you know are interested in getting involved in music, that's when we open for our private music lessons, our group classes, music therapy, or seats in our ensembles. So, and like I said, these opportunities in music are for students of all ages. So whether you have a little one that might be interested in starting and exploring music for the first time, or if you're somebody who wants to get your husband or your wife a guitar for Christmas and some guitar lessons, as it's a great holiday gift to get you started and to encourage a new hobby to meet your New Year's resolution in the new year.
All right, that's Monday, December 2nd. Let's get back to December 8th at 2 p.m., the Eukstra Holiday Show. Where is that going to be at?
That's going to be at the Nashua Community Music School in our recital hall. So that's at 2 p.m. Sunday, December 8th. That's our Eukstra Holiday Show. So a whole orchestra of ukuleles coming together to play, featured holiday music and popular rock favorites and things like that. It's a really great opportunity to just, get in the holiday spirit.
Well, I do right after we get through with our little Thanksgiving holiday. I'm when speaking on the radio throughout the morning time, I'm a big proponent of giving the gift of music for the holiday season.
Absolutely.
And the whole this week I've been going over some of the songs that are out in the music that's out today, and I'm trying to find out which songs are actually inspiring kids to go buy guitars, drums, or anything else for that matter. And one of my best friends is John Chinette, who runs the Guitar Center down there, and I talk to him every 3 or 4 months, and the place looks beautiful. And if you've never been in there, I invite you to do it. There's about 250 guitars on the wall. The drum room is packed from ceiling to everywhere you go. And I was asking him the same thing: how's business? Every time it says it's okay. It's not as great as it was in one of the days, but kids and the youth and the older adults are still going and buying guitars, which I find pretty remarkable when there's not a lot of stuff inspiring them to do so.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of music out there that is based solely electronically, but at the root of it, most of the electronic sounds are getting their inspiration from live music.
But but we grew up with MTV, okay, when it was real MTV. Okay, and you saw somebody playing something, you're like, I got to play that thing, or I want to have that thing, or sound like that thing. And I don't know where they're getting it from today, unless they're watching videos on YouTube.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of music videos on YouTube.
I'm wondering if some of the music movies that have come out recently have inspired musicians. Again, maybe some of the excerpts from Bohemian Rhapsody and Brian May playing the guitar. Did that inspire people to come on over to see if they could find a guitar? I don't know the answer to these questions, but I know they don't have a lot of avenues today like they did when we were young.
Yeah, they have to explore it differently, but that's what is really great about being able to have a teacher like a lot of our students have at the Nashua Community Music School. Is sometimes the teachers are really insistent in a good way to get the kids to explore and get the students to explore new music that they never thought they existed or didn't know that they could find it. And
Yeah,
sometimes,
like the ukuleles.
yeah, like the ukuleles.
Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, all you needed to do was put this on in your headphones and you were done. You're like, if you were a player like I was in the day, you just threw your guitar away. You're like, okay, forget it. Let's start over. And that guy's an underrated drummer. That guy is one of the best drummers on the planet, by the way, Eddie's brother, Alex. We have a drummer in the studio here this morning. They are the Nashua Community Music School Musician of the Month. As Lindsay said earlier, maybe we've had a lot of the youth in, but there's people of all ages.
Absolutely.
That have earned this to be on this radio show, you rock star, you.
I have been begging to get Taylor on this show for
What was he, didn't want to come on?
So
He's nervous?
He's a little
He's a drummer. What do you
all
want? He sits behind something. He's protected.
I told him he's
going
to have to talk.
He doesn't stand out on the stage like a guitar player. He gets to hide behind all these big things that nobody gets to see them. Good morning and welcome to the radio station, Taylor Robbins. He's 24 years old. He's from Derry. Why do you say your last name?
O'Coin.
Okay, so it's Ray O'Coin, who is a drum teacher, instructor.
He is a drum teacher.
Yes, I know, but you are in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was introducing.
Yeah, drums
as.
and composition.
Right, exactly. Well, Taylor, radio, first time on radio?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you for being in. And I don't know why, it took you a hard time to get on in here, but it's still fun to be on the radio,
Yeah.
It's cool to have your name out on the radio still. That's one thing that'll never go away. Ray, how long you been teaching?
20 years.
Oh, 20 years.
22 years, something along that line.
Okay, so you must have had another instrument before drums?
No, I started playing when I was a freshman in high school and decided that I wanted to make my life out of that and went to music school, have been teaching professionally for 20 years.
Wow, so you kind of fell in love with one instrument and stayed with it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty amazing. Most of us bounce through a few, until you find your way home.
Well, I always joke around that I saw Motley Crue on MTV. And I saw Tommy Lee twirling those drumsticks, and I said, yeah, I want that.
See what I mean? That's my point. And I really wish that they would do something else to continue to give that to the kids, because they're really have a big impression on them, and they want a thing. And I don't see a lot of it unless they're going and searching or finding it. It was in our face. It was like watching network TV when we were growing up, and they showcased instruments. Of course, the songs showcased instruments. And I don't know where they're getting it from today.
Well, it's good and it's bad, because I know that a lot of my college students or my adult students, they'll be watching these shows on YouTube, but they'll have actually never gone to a live concert. And I was like, you gotta go to the live concert.
I know, but still, either way, if they're watching it and they see somebody playing an instrument, hopefully it's inspiration. I want to learn. I want to play that.
Yeah.
Hearing, it's a whole different thing. So we go back in the time where I was inspired.
Yeah.
Can you tell who that is by the drummer? No.
Buddy.
He's seeing it, so that's not fair. You can see my computer. Listen, that's Buddy Rich.
Yeah,
And Buddy
I knew
Rich
it.
was great inspiration for me when I was growing up. And, he played on a gold set of Ludwigs, and I just wanted to hit those things, something fierce. I never followed through or never became proficient enough, and that was due to the discipline I did not want to put into playing. And I know that a lot of guys see rock and roll drummers and don't think that they're disciplined to practice. They just get up there. People just seem to think that all of a sudden you sit in that chair and you're that good. You don't realize the amount of practice that needs to be done, especially when it comes to drummers. So, I admire you for that. There's a lot of work to get to where you're at. We're going to find out by listening. But Buddy Rich inspired drummers.
Big time.
Big time.
Most amazing. Students ask me often, who I think was the greatest drummer ever lived, and I say it's Buddy Rich, because there was nobody that mixed raw talent with being discovered really early. He was born in 1917 and had his first professional show in 1918. He was
What?
only 18 months old.
I don't understand how that's possible.
He was called Traps the Drum Wonder. He was a vaudeville oddity. His parents had been vaudevillian actors, and they noticed that when he would tap with his spoons and stuff, he wasn't actually he was tapping rhythms. And so they put drumsticks in his hand and started making sure that he could play. And basically, he played from 1918 till he died in 1987.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a career.
Yeah. Well, that's a protege. That's a remarkable human being. That's no different than Tiger Woods with golf.
Yeah.
Okay. But then again, he's the one that brought it on, and many after him. All of the big band era had phenomenal percussionist drummers that could play, okay? I mean, I think about the dude that played with Elvis. That guy was a drummer, man. He was unbelievable.
DJ Fontana.
Yeah.
Totally underrated.
Oh!
Totally underrated.
You know, and this is the type of stuff that Tommy Lee came from those. All right, they were disciplined to hold their sticks the way we were taught when we were young. Not many people hold them like that anymore today, and all that type of stuff. And we always have had fun as a musician. Myself, guitar player, with drummers, but without them, they're not breaking time, man. And we're a mess without you. You know. So you, Taylor, 24.
Yes.
Is this your first instrument? Because evidently not. You also play strings.
Yeah, I play a little bit of guitar and bass, but the drums was my first. I've been playing since I was about 4 or 5, I'd say.
What was your inspiration?
My dad. My dad's a drummer, and I grew up watching him play, so I followed in his footsteps.
And who did he play with? I mean, what was the style of music he played?
He listened to a lot of Rush. He loves Rush. That's
Oh
his
boy,
favorite.
we got one of them, huh?
Yeah, one of them.
I was just talking about us about this guy. This guy, you know, how many times have we heard? You and I have grown up listening to everything from the 60s on, Ringo Starr style, Charlie Watts, and everybody else in between. And it took a very long time for me to accept Rush. When they came out, dude, it was the weirdest stuff you ever heard.
Yeah.
Compared to the mainstream. And for me, at the time, of course, Neil Peart was way too busy. That's how we kind of took it. Like, man, this guy, take it easy, dude. Because we're coming off of, beat players. I mean, you're coming off of a guy that could play with AC/DC. Or a guy that plays with Judas Priest. Which basically, you don't even know who the guy is, except for the new guy they brought in. But he just kept the time. And everything else was the forefront, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, this Peart comes in here. And you're like, oh, stop already. So if you go back and listen to those recordings today, they are superior. They were way before their time. And that kid, that's what my point is. You know how many drummers he brought on the planet, Neil Peart? All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's done more than Buddy. I have to tell you.
Yeah. In some ways, yeah. I agree.
So it must drove you crazy as an instructor and having your ways teaching somebody. And this kid wants to come in and play like Peart.
Taylor, I've said this.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about in general. Kids
In general? I mean, yeah, you always have that thing where you're trying to get them to understand that the space from where you start to where he is a pretty long road. And so let's get you there. Let's work on this. But, hey, why don't you listen to some of these other guys that are maybe not doing Tom Sawyer, this kind of crazy drum fills. Let's ease into it a little bit.
Yeah, he's amazing. Peart's amazing, right?
He is.
Yeah, he really is. Did you read his books?
I haven't, no.
Read his books.
All right.
Yeah, they're really good. Very, very good. He talks about doing one of his world tours, and he did it on a motorcycle.
Really?
Yep. He traveled. It was his thing to, go to every gig on a motorcycle. Even overseas, he flew it over.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. He has no desire to play now, by the way. He is
Really?
just completely toast. Completely toast.
That's
okay?
sad.
It is. And when I
Yeah.
read this last little thing about it, I was like, this guy's got a lot of nerve. Look what the people gave him. He wouldn't be anything unless they bought one of his records. Not one. Okay?
Right.
I mean, that's what musicians are. But he's toast, too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, he's inspired plenty of drummers and cost money, families lots of money.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the Buddy Rich 3-piece kid. I need 24.
Yeah.
Right.
You say, hey, Dad, Christmas, birthday, Easter, whatever, I need another symbol. Neil's got 26. I need them too. You're getting only one, and it's going to have a buffer on it. That's what it's going to have. Amazing stuff, even today, listening to some of those recordings. Now, a lot of them are B tracks. Bob knows them really, really well, but the traditional ones you hear on the radio were still done wonderful, produced wonderfully, and you probably still listen to them now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you play along with these?
Sometimes I try, but I don't know if I'm not as good.
Well, I mean, you know what we did when we were playing guitars in the day? Now it's much easier. Believe me, our day, it was very, very difficult to de-throttle it and change the pitch to make sure you could get the notes. It was a pain in the butt. They could do that with drums, too, because I know there's a lot going on with that guy drumming that you don't normally hear when you're playing.
Right, yeah. You definitely tone it down a little bit, get the basic feel, and then work your way to what he's doing, but... Yeah.
So do you play in a band?
Just the Trash Talk Ensemble for now. Years ago, I played in a band in Londonderry when I was, 10, 11, 12, something like that. But.
So you're 24,
Yes.
so you have the whole world ahead of you. Do you have ambition to do something with your drumming talent, or you just, hey, I play drums, man?
It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, so it probably always will be, but if you know, if I can do something with it professionally one day, that'd be cool.
Well, you've got something on top of a lot of these rock drummers. You can read music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to Ray. Yeah.
Right. Right. You know, a lot of drummers don't want to read nothing. They want to hit things. That's why I want to be a drummer. I want to hit something, you know, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of discipline in that. So with that, of course, you could do anything. You can go anywhere you want in the world. It's universal language that way, right? So if you want to play in the Australian ensemble, you probably could.
Yeah, that'd
because
be cool.
you can read music.
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
I'm a laborer for a sheetrock company.
Yeah.
So
You got to tell them to go. They have human resources today. You can complain it's killing your drumming arms.
Yeah.
I mean, they give you a break.
That's a good
I can only
point.
do 3 days. I mean, this stuff all day, it's not helping me, man.
Yeah, right?
I told him I'd make him get up early, but I wouldn't make him lift anything today.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's see now. You've been at the Nashua Community Music School for 7 years.
Yeah, give or take 7 years. I came
With
over-
him? With Ray?
Yeah, once he came over, I followed him over. I was with him in Londonderry, and then in between, and then now in Nashua.
How do you start somebody off on drums, Ray?
So the typical way that I'll do it, because I believe that a lot of the playing comes out of the hand, so I actually start with the practice pad, but I move out quickly. I don't let them stay there too long, but get their hands developed and then kind of start moving that from the two-hand single surface out to the multiple surfaces. So kind of get them reading and understanding rhythms, understanding beat, internalizing beat, and then kind of start scaffolding things and give them some basic ideas and then start adding to those basic ideas until, you know, they'll kneel pert.
Yeah. The mind is an amazing thing when you think about all of the things that a drummer has to do. Which 2 feet could be opposite from 2 hands.
Yeah.
And being able to listen to a bass player playing at the same time. It's not as easy, my point is what you people watch and see. It takes talent and a lot of practice. A ton of practice. So I admire you for doing that right there. Most of us, you know, any guitar player out there wants a drummer.
Yeah.
Needs a drummer.
Yeah.
And any drummer out there wants a bass player.
Yep.
Okay, because that's another underrated instrument is bass. I've been focusing this week on our on songs that have without the bass they're nothing, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of them, right? You know.
Yeah.
Some of your drummers, besides the older school guys that you think really special drummers, who can you name off a few? I mean, I'm sure you go through
Professional
500.
guys?
Yeah.
I think the guy that I've most patterned my playing on would be Jeff Porcaro, the guy who played for Toto. Yeah. Porcaro was a incredibly legendary field player, you know, having played with Toto and Steely Dan and so many of the groove, you know, stuff from the 70s and 80s. Steve Gadd, playing with Paul Simon, kind of revolutionized playing. Virtually any drummer that played with Steely Dan, because basically, you know, Fagan and Brecker only got the best players. So guys like that. Some of the new players, you know, I'm really into some of the guys that are playing with like the bands like Starset and Breaking Benjamins and some of the more new metal bands, because I think they're doing some really amazing things that are more melodic than drums usually have been in the past. And so you know, I really look at some of the new stuff as kind of showing where things could go if drummers are, you know, hip to it and are willing to kind of maybe take a little bit of a flyer and try some new stuff. So I try to impart a lot of that on the students as I go through.
And drummer's a special person because he doesn't need to be forefront on the stage, but knows without me you're not going to play.
Yep.
You know, I walk quiet with a big stick. You know what I'm saying? The two of them, as a matter of fact. Well, I mean, I can only go by guys that you turn on my ears, and it's just a list and list and list. But another dude that broke ground before Pert was John Bonham.
Yep.
And I know his son's a good drummer. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, with guitar playing, bass playing, keyboard playing, singing, each individual has their own signature. We all may be playing on the same drum kit. We could be all using the same wood. All the heads could be tuned the way that they are, but there's a little English that each person has, and that guy had something special. Don't know what it is. Don't know how you get it. We all say if we could bottle it, we'd be millionaires, but that's what made that guy special. And, of course, he had a great bass player.
John
They-
Paul Jones, totally underrated.
They were
but-
just like one. Right, and that's what I think a lot of the stuff is missing today. And of course, I'm not happy with the way that they mix music today. They brought that bass way down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost even with the other instruments in our day, man. If we take a listen to some of those earlier albums with some of the greatest bands in the world, there's no overdubbing. A lot of that, we'll take that Tom Sawyer, for instance, okay? There is a bass and a drum and a guitar, and when it comes time for the solo, it is just Geddy Lee and Pert holding that whole thing. And very rarely throughout that song will he throw in that filler keyboard to keep the bass, that little... It's naked. It's raw. And we're missing that today. Absolutely missing that today. If they didn't hold it down, then the guitar player wouldn't be able to do what he had to do. And Geddy Lee is a smoking bass player.
I think when you listen to John Entwistle with Blue,
forget it.
It was the same thing. I mean, Pete Townsend was just going crazy. But when you listen to what Keith Moon and Entwistle were doing in the back there, I mean, that band doesn't function without those guys.
Entwistle kind of pissed me off because he never looked like he gave any effort to play. He was smooth as silk. Yeah. But again, back in those days, we played loud with different instruments. That's all that drummer could hear. Wonderful stuff. That's why I'm glad you're in it. I love to listen to some of the stuff that you've got. We have some tracks that Lindsay's been nice enough to send us, so we'll need an intro on these. Or what am I listening to?
Sure. So this is all original music from Taylor's album. So
Taylor's got an album?
Yeah. So I'd love for him to talk a little bit about it. The first one, you want to play Lift Off first?
Sure, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So 2008, I was however old I was, 13, 14, and I got my first MacBook. I wanted the MacBook because it had GarageBand on it, and I always, in school they had the Macs, and I was playing around on the GarageBand, so I started doing that at home, and I just, song after song after song, I got better at it, and then I re-recorded some of them with real guitars and bass, and some of them have real drums, some of them don't, but this is Lift Off.
Well, let me tell you something. Thanks to you and you, Ray. Of course, Ray, you're very proficient. You could be making money on the side because the youth today is learning drag and drop, but somebody has to record those drums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ray's also our director of our Young Composers Camp, so
somebody has to play them.
He knows all about it.
Someone has to play them. Someone has to sample them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for guys like you could do that in your own today's day and age, the world is open like it wasn't before. You could put down a bunch of stuff and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Pennies or whatever. But without drag and drop, we don't have a lot of the songs you've got going on today.
Very much so, yeah.
But someone had to play them. That's all.
But you're playing a lot of this stuff, right?
I'm playing the guitars and the bass guitar. There's a lot of synths and
so you drag and
stuff.
drop this in GarageBand?
Yeah, in GarageBand I drag and dropped it all, and then I went and re-recorded real guitars and real bass guitars.
Let's take a listen. Taylor Robbins, 24 years old. He's this month's new Nashua Community Music School Musician of the Month. The song is called Lift Off?
Yes.
Let's take a listen. This is great bed stuff. Taylor Robbins, age 24. Track number 1. It's called Lift Off. You composed it. You did?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the drum kit that you use. What kind of drums do you use?
That's my
not for this, just in general.
The ones you have next door are actually the ones I grew up with, the little ones, the Tamas.
Exactly.
You got sweat, just sweat, Ray. You're tuning them before you leave too.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be used next Saturday night, and they're a mess. So you might have to come over here and bring a key, though. I don't know where the key went,
Right.
if you don't mind.
I have my key with me all the time.
Well, I know you do. I used to carry a tuning fork with me all the time, but I don't have to anymore. You know why? I try to teach people all the time. This is why, because this is a 440. So I don't need to do that. That's old school. We had phones back in the day. You don't have dial tone on your cell phone.
No.
Can't tune that guitar? Pick up the phone. Take your 8 from there and go from there. What kind of guitars do you play? Do you have?
I have. My mom bought this old Fender guitar online years ago, and that's all I've been using. I'm not much of a guitar player, but clearly I can get by. But
You know, hey, listen, we're our hardest critics.
yeah,
I'm sure you'll listen to that going, geez, I should have done that. This
Yeah,
didn't
this-
sound right.
this is
bad."
live
It's
on
not
air.
fun for them. You know? For me, first time hearing it, we use a lot of bed backgrounds in our business here. And there are people that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars off making CDs of background beds.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's what that is to me. And my mind's already thinking about where can we use that? You know?
Yeah.
Because, of course, there's no lead to take you away from it. It does take rhythm, and I know the talent it takes to do that. But it's hard for you to listen to it like we're listening to it, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't even.
I think it's awesome.
I don't
Sorry,
think. I don't
it's awesome that we're finally getting Taylor's music out there. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
Yeah.
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 You know, I can tell you right now, Aerosmith does not want to listen to their first album.
No.
You know, they don't want to listen to any of their stuff. You know, they're more critical than anything because they know what went on during the day. For everybody else, it's different. So, and you got a bass guitar too. You have a bass. What
the
kind
bass
is that?
in there. It's my guitar teacher's. You know, I wish I knew what it was. I use it every week, but yeah, I record all of the stuff at his house. I've been with, his name's Peter Hostage. He's a phenomenal musician based in Londonderry.
You just use his.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I go to his place every week. I use his guitars, his bass. When I record drums, I use his. He's got a
What kind of
Pro,
kit do you have?
So I have two. My rock kit is a 1967 Ludwig Super Classic, and my jazz kit is a Canopus. They're a boutique company out of Japan, and all Sabian cymbals.
I took a tour of that factory.
Yeah, I was up there a couple years ago. It's a phenomenal place.
Yeah, you know, most of us don't care what goes into making a drum kit. You know, I know, but there's a lot to it, which can dictate the prices. And for you guys that can hear things that we cannot hear, I know wood, the hardware. I mean, it gets down to the nitty gritty. I'm glad I don't know enough about it. Drive me bananas. You guys have more parts to deal with than anybody. Do you know what I mean? Drive you crazy. But you can buy $25,000 drum kits, and you can. But the way I see it, like this kid's doing already, is if you can play guitar at the garage sale, you can play an expensive one.
Yeah.
Buying the Gibson ain't going to help you.
Right.
Right. Buying the what it was Pert known for?
His drums?
Tama.
Yeah, now he's playing Tama, but he used to play Ludwig. He was a big Ludwig
Okay.
endorser for years too.
Right. I mean, I know this is what it is. It's marketing. Hey, that guy plays that. I need that kit.
Yeah.
You know, I know. But you know what? You're gonna have to get 10 jobs to get it. Remember, he didn't get the best kit until he sold 10 million albums.
Yeah.
He's playing on what he could play. Did he always start off on double bass?
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't play double bass anymore.
No.
He studied with a big jazz drummer in the late 80s, early 90s, and Maurice Spivak out of New York. And when he studied with him, it really changed his philosophy of playing, and he stripped back. I mean, he's still got a huge kit, comparatively speaking.
Is there any recordings with him on one bass drum? What
Yeah,
album?
everything after Presto is one bass drum.
Awesome. Now, you remember when I remember the dude from Def Leppard lost his arm. We never thought he'd play drums again.
Rick Allen.
Rick Allen. Due to what they could do today, they put out some very popular albums since then. You wouldn't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The foot, the whole nine, the pedal situation. Now, we have another song that we'd like to hear from Taylor. It composed. Are you drumming on this? Set one up for me. Pulsar. It's going to be called. What is this? Let me make sure I got this out. This song here.
Do you have a name of the album?
Pulsar.
The name of the album is Voyager. There's no lyrics in any of the songs, and I can't write
You better
lyrics.
You better make sure Michael Oldfield don't hear that.
Uh-oh. Well,
I don't think he'll know, kid. It's like me doing my stuff on the radio. Believe me, you don't know. You know. That guy's one talented son of a gun. Ridiculous, by the way. We all grew up with that, Tubular Bells album while you were half baked. Listen to it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Don't listen to me right now. Just sit there looking at the stealing. Play it again, Mike. I hear stuff. I hear messages. Just like they heard with the Beatles. Right? What'd you think about Ringo?
When I was younger, I was not impressed, but I think as I got older and as I understood music more, I've come to realize that he was probably one of the most important drummers of the 20th century, and more importantly, he was the perfect drummer for the Beatles.
I think as we get older as musicians, we realize how much we stink and how better everybody else is.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that happens with maturity because there's a lot of ego, especially in the 80s, right? And then you start to get older and you listen to stuff again and go, no wonder I'm not a star. I've always said that if the good Lord had given me a 1/4 inch more on my fingers in length, that's it. I'm not in this box. I can't do things some guys could do, and people don't realize their fingers were just longer than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take a look at some of the older video with the Hendrix where he could put his whole thumb across the whole neck and put his fingers like that. Yeah, exactly.
What?
Exactly. Take a look at his old videos, man. He could, how people use capos?
Mm-hmm.
That was his thumb.
That's crazy.
And he's left-handed, so he could wrap his thumb around the neck all the way across and put his fingers. Now, come on. He belongs in a circus, not on stage. You can't do that stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Steve Vai's got fingers like a spider. You're just not gonna do that. So frustrating as it may be, stay to what you can do.
Yeah.
Let's go with the word. Now, is this album downloadable, or can people find it? Can they go get it, listen to it? Where is it?
Yes, it's on. If you go on bothendsburningmusic.com, you can buy the album there. That's the little website.
And when did
I
you
set
put
up.
this out?
About a month ago.
Oh, it's brand new.
Brand new, yeah.
Did you have any CDs pressed?
Just the one for me, but I can press more. You can buy them online. There's a link on there.
Oh, I hope your CD's more popular than my calendar.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's not doing too well.
No?
Hey, today's day and age, it's probably not a lot of investment to get all this stuff done. Do you have logos and T-shirts and all that type of stuff? And
Not yet, but it's something I can look into.
I can tell you already, you need a singer, right? Looking for a singer?
I could use a singer, yeah. Somebody who could.
There's people that can put melody over there, like Bardis. Have you talked to Bardis? Bardis, listen to this kid's songs and write them and put some lyrics to this stuff.
Yeah,
If you don't mind Cookie Monster.
that's fine.
Oh boy.
You're all set. We're going to listen to the track Pulsar.
All right.
Hopefully I got the right one. Zach, Pulsar?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's got that in-your-face bass, man. Playing drums here?
No, that's garage band drums.
Don't just say yes.
Yeah, I'm playing
We're on the
those.
radio. We're on the radio, okay?
Always yes.
Yes.
Radio Smoke and Mirrors.
All right. That's all me.
This is going to be the new soundtrack for Bardis' Books and Crook Show. How many songs on the album?
16 or 17 around.
That's called a bonus CD in my
It
day.
is.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, in my years, because I've been teaching Taylor since he was 12. So I've heard hundreds of his songs, hundreds and hundreds of his songs. So 16, that's not even scratching the surface of what that guy has over there.
Yeah, we picked and choose from like 40.
Yeah.
Did you do this all yourself?
No, my guitar teacher, Peter Hostage, he has his own little studio in his basement, and I go over there once a week and record stuff, write stuff, and he mixes the whole thing. And
So he didn't do any of the composing.
nope, he didn't compose or play anything. He helped me record it, and he helped me mix it and get it out there.
Well, that's track number 5 off of Taylor's album, and I want to get to the other ones because I've been long-winded in the tooth over here, so I want to get to some other of these songs right here. He's just, again, with the website where they can find this.
Bothensburningmusic.com.
So what are you going to do on Winter Stroll Night? It's the 2 days after Thanksgiving, which would be next Thursday. Are you playing anywhere or doing anything?
Yeah, we're in the Trash Talk. We're playing over, where was it?
The corner of Pearson and Main Street, across from
You're
Darrow's.
banging on trash cans.
Banging on trash cans all night.
It's real music. We're playing from real
The only thing that can make that better is to bring a
compositions.
few ukuleles over with it.
Come on down, man. I'm telling you.
Honestly, we get a
I'll be
really
here.
big draw. A really big
Listen,
draw.
there's guys that make over $2,000 a month in New York hitting plastic buckets.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's very artful.
Oh, Lindsay.
It is.
God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you. All right. 24 years old, musician of the month, Nashua Community Music School. We got another track coming up over here. It's number 14 on the 16 album that he has called Parallax.
Yes.
Right? What's the theme of this whole thing? What were you thinking when this...
Well, it was really hard to come up with anything with no words or lyrics. So I chose like a space theme. I thought it was a pretty cool thing. It's easy to find words to name songs with no lyrics. Yeah.
Did you give him this heavy backbone blood, right? Is this your responsibility?
I mean, I'd love to take credit for it, but no, this is where Taylor lives, and I love it.
Because of your dad.
My mom. My mom loves this music too.
I'm like a heavy metal chick. I used to love him too. How long it take you to put all this together? Yeah.
It years.
Oh yeah, because
like multiple years.
Yeah.
I go to my guitar teacher's house once a week for an hour. So I have an hour session every week, and that's as long as I have to do all this. So it's taken a long time.
Sometimes you don't feel like it. I mean, there are days that you can't get that. Ask any composer, just don't have it. They have to come back and revisit it again.
Yeah.
Do you have anything out?
I'm sorry?
Do you have anything out there?
Nope, nothing out. Sorry.
Parallax, track 3 off of Taylor's album. This is, you can tell by his age, a lot of the bands that are out there today are doing this symphonic metal. It's a big thing. Of course, the lead breakdowns and so forth have been eliminated due to heavy choruses or bridges of the song, but it's basically rhythm-based and a high soprano singer.
Yep.
And most of them are female.
Or guys trying to get it to that register.
Well, there's only one dude I know that can do that, and that's Halford. And he still bangs it out now. He dies afterwards, but he's hitting it.
Yeah. My first concert.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was some christening.
Yep. When I saw
where?
Judas Priest Turbo Tour in Worcester in '86.
Oh, he still remembers it. That's the impressive. That's how good it was. All right, we're gonna go out with this final track and say some things. Just again, I want to go over a couple of things coming up at the Nashua Community Music School. Lindsay Rinaldi picks the. Well, I guess what do you guys do? Does the board vote on who's coming in here to win this thing, or no?
So no, we take recommendations from the teachers. Mostly, we ask the teachers like who's doing well in your studio, who's practicing, who's showing up. We scout our talent at our recitals. We had our fall recitals this past weekend. So
you made it, kid.
So we check out the recitals and see who played really well and successfully. But honestly, I've been a huge fan of the work that Taylor's been doing at the music school for years and years as a drummer, as a composer, and I'm just so excited to be able to, get his music out there into the public ears.
First drummer on the show too.
Really?
Well,
yeah,
compose.
I think
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm honored.
Well, thank you. We're honored, and thank you for doing what you do and staying out of trouble and putting your energy in towards the drums. It ain't easy for you young kids today not to be misled in different areas. I really don't even know how all of us my age are still alive. But
and Taylor will be playing at in the house band again. I'm sure at Play It Forward in April, our big rock concert fundraiser.
Yeah, because now that you're on the show, you make it into that band.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
No, he's played for the last 5 years. He's
Well,
been
you've
on the
banging
stage
trash
every year.
cans.
Well, yeah, but now you have to ask me to do it again.
Now I have to. Yeah. I was going to. I was
You're in.
assuming.
What about country music?
Some of it's not bad. It's not my favorite kind of music, but some of it's very influenced, I think, by rock. It sounds very rock.
Of course it is, but
these days,
because it's country music, it's taken them 20 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because everything's slow. All of their music today is hits. They're all hits from our 80s, 90s bands. They are, listen, they're pop rock, man. Give it to me, all right? With lead solos. They're putting lead solos into their music today, which we did, which is gone now.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll be back to traditional country in another 20 years.
Yep.
This is the cycle of it. We've said it before with Bob down there in the South. This the New Orleans area, and that whole area over there is the new L.A.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
for musicians.
Yep.
If you went down there, dude, today, you'd get a gig in 3 hours.
I believe it.
Paying. Forget this sheet wall. Go down there and play rock and roll. Go play, man, while you're young.
Yeah.
While you're young. And you can come back and do my gig like me when I was playing in New York, and look where I ended up. But anyway, I didn't have a lot of fun. Let's go lead out with the song number, it's track 4.
Yes.
And it's called Andromeda off the Space album that Taylor has put together. Again, where they can go get it, download it.
Bothendsburningmusic.com.
Bothendsburningmusic.com. Ray, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to you again anytime you want to come on and talk music, talk drums or anything. The door's open. Lindsay,
Thank you.
We'll see you next month.
Oh, you got it.
All right, let's go on out with the top of the hour, and we'll see you on the other side.
WSMN 1590, Nashua.